Welcome to the Black Four Horsemen YouTube channel. Let's stop that. So, what I've decided to do is introduce a new series to this channel. The year 2026, I'm trying to put more content on our YouTube channel, be a little bit more present than we've been in the past few years. We say it all the time on the podcast and on this channel. Life be lifing, so it's hard to get all the guys together to do any reaction shows or do any type of wrestling content. So I took it upon myself to, try to put more out there for the people that are subscribed to this channel. Again, this is your boy Q with the Black Four Horsemen podcast, and I'm going to do a series on the Netflix show WWE Unreal Season 2. So all the episodes dropped today, and there's been all kind of spoilers on online on Twitter with different clips. But I've seen some of it, but I'm not gonna cover any of that stuff. I am focusing right now on just episode 1 of season 2. And then as I watch the different episodes, I will give a reaction to that particular episode. So it's 5 episodes in this series. So we're dropping reaction to. I watched episode 1 earlier today, dropping the reactions to that. I am let me take this off here. What is this? Okay. And then whenever I watch episode 2, I will drop my feelings on episode 2 on the channel as well. The plan is to also post this on our TikTok account. So follow us on all our different social media platforms. Of course, YouTube is the main page. X/Twitter, TikTok, and even Threads. So I'll try to put more content out there for all those platforms and social media sites throughout the year. So episode 1 of season 2 focused mainly on 4 superstars, basically. You had Seth Rollins, Becky Lynch, Pat McAfee, and Lyra Valkyrie. And a lot of the stuff they're showing behind the scenes is leading up to WrestleMania, this past WrestleMania, and also Backlash, which is the PLE right after WrestleMania. So one thing that, as when the episode started, which I enjoyed, you had Triple H kind of introducing and telling, kind of giving the breakdown of the show and as far as what they do behind the scenes. And there was a quote he mentioned about WWE is storytelling, and it's a storytelling show that goes on 7 days a week, 365 days a year, no off season. So they have to, as soon as one story ends, they're planning the next story, and on and on. So it's the episode started out with Seth Rollins introducing himself, was showing some of his past personas and past names that he's used in this wrestling business. Now he goes by Seth Rollins. They talk about the relationship that he has with his real life wife, Becky Lynch. They show his daughter and how that relationship started, how they started dating, and ultimately, end up getting married. And I think they even showed some of their footage from their wedding, the small wedding that they had. But what they wanted to focus on in the very beginning is Becky Lynch's return. She had been out for a minute after having a baby, coming back, having the career. She just wanted some time. And I think she even mentioned that her contract was up, and she was just going to take some time off, just take a break. So they agreed to that. And while she was taking a break, they were planning on when would she come back. If you think back to past WrestleMania, there was a tag team match with the Judgment Day at the time. Liv Morgan and Raquel Rodriguez were the women's tag team champions, and they were defending those titles against Lyra Valkyrie and a mystery partner. They showed history of that mystery partner ended up being Becky Lynch. And in the show, I don't remember if they showed this during live WWE at the time, but they showed Lyra's relationship with Becky Lynch. They're both from Ireland. She grew up a Becky Lynch fan. They show where Becky came back to the wrestling school that Lyra was training at, how they met, and built that relationship. So it's two Irish women coming together, and ultimately she is the surprise partner for Lara. They end up winning the tag team titles. That was on WrestleMania. The night of WrestleMania, they won the women's tag team titles. Another thing that I liked as they were telling the Becky Lynch story, they mentioned how she became quote unquote the man. And if you've listened to these podcasts or listened to some of the content I've said personally, is that Becky Lynch was nobody until Nia Jax broke her nose. And Triple H basically mentioned that in the show where she became the man because she took that punch from Nia Jax. She had a bloody nose. She stood in the ring. She finished the segment on the show. The crowd loved her, and she became like the next big thing or hottest thing at the time. After Nia, broke her nose, whether we all know it was an accident, but because of that happened and how real it was, the crowd, jumped on the bandwagon. So I like that they mentioned that because I've always said that if Nia had not punched Becky Lynch in the nose, you never know. Becky Lynch may not be around now. She could have been on that list of possible cuts that they have annually. So, but we're here now, and that's where it is. So they mentioned that Becky Lynch and Lara win the women's tag team titles. That was on WrestleMania. The next night on Raw, they lose them. If I'm not mistaken, like less than 24 hours, they lose them back to the Judgment Day, back to Liv and Raquel, and that's when Becky turns on her, beats her down, and that was actually the Becky Lynch heel turn that, as of today, January 20th, 2026, she's still a heel. From what happened back in, that would have been, I guess, April, would have been May, or maybe April, because right after May, so it would have been April. So she's still on that heel run now, currently the women's Intercontinental Champion, but that goes to where that heel turn happened. So one thing that I think Triple H kind of criticized her doing that match. So that led to a match between Becky Lynch and Lara at Backlash, which is the next PLE after WrestleMania, where it was a great match, as they even said, but as soon as Lara won, Becky attacked her and didn't give the crowd time to like celebrate the pop that she won. So you saw how you see some of the mindset when it comes to this business of professional wrestling, how you got to listen to the crowds, you got to kind of feed off what they're doing. So it's very interesting that they showed that part. That look, it's great. Well, what happened was supposed to happen. Lara was supposed to beat you, but give her the crowd time to notice that she won, celebrate, like get that initial pop, then you can attack her. And Bay kind of jumped the gun on that. So that was kind of the first part of the show. They focused on behind the scenes stuff for setting up that match and how that would happen. They also then went to Pat McAfee and talked about his journey into this business as being a color commentator and also training and having a few matches under his belt. And this will set up the match with Gunther that he also faced that also had a match at Backlash, the PLE right after WrestleMania. That previous WrestleMania, I believe, the WrestleMania before, I think, is when Gunther lost the world title to Jey Uso. Michael Cole mentioned that Gunther was the one that tapped, which pissed Gunther off. And so when he goes to attack Michael, and this is all set up, they talk about how that was the plan. As he attacks Michael Cole, that's when Pat McAfee jumps in to save Michael and that will lead up to the match that they would have at Backlash. A couple things that happened behind the scenes in the writing rooms were one of the writers even mentioned, I think I wrote it down, quoted that says that I don't see why we would have our color commentator beat our former world champion. So those are some of the questions that even when this was happening, people kind of questioned, why is Gunther facing Pat McAfee when he just lost the world title? Why is his next match against a color commentator? But they wanted to establish Pat McAfee. They wanted to just bring some attention to his athletic ability, what he's done, and just to get some new eyes on that PLE. people that are fans of Pat McAfee from the football world to the other announcing duties that he does as far as college football, things of that nature. They wanted to get uh, those eyes on the product. Um, they they mentioned that when Gunther went after Michael Cole and Pat McAfee jumped in to intervene, Gunther attacked him, choked him out in the ringside, and it's very close up footage of telling you can hear Triple H tell Pat to continue to sell it as he's walking back to the ring. Don't stop selling the choking that Gunther did. And I think Pat even mentioned that, man, as walking up the aisle, usually the arena will go dark, they go to commercial break, he can kind of get himself together. But he had to continue to act throughout the thing. He said, I don't know if I'm that good of an actor to constant coughing up and the redness that he has in his face from the choke out. I remember when this happened live, and even I thought he's selling this a little too much, but it did kind of make it seem like it was real. Like, he's selling this to the point where I think Gunther really was choking this man out, but you see how that was all planned, and that was and that's where it kind of led to. So they mentioned they kind of wrap up that Gunther and Pat McAfee story and some of the behind the scenes stuff on there, and then of course they go back to Becky Lynch and Lara and their match, because I believe that match was for the for the women's IC title, um, with Lara winning. I want to say they ended up facing again later on, which was not on the show, and that's how Becky Lynch got the IC title that she currently has today. I mean, she's defended it a few times, but um, I think she initially won it from Laria, um, maybe at a different PLE. They may show that next episode, not sure. But I just kind of want to give my initial thoughts. People, when it comes to a show like this, a lot of people don't like it because it's pulling back the curtain on the business and and how the sausage is made, as some people say. Me personally, I love this type of stuff. I like documentaries. I like to know how things work. I like to see how things were made. And so, with the little wrestling knowledge that I know, just from being a fan and what I see online and the internet, I like to see things like this and to put some clarity on what I was thinking happened and what really happened. So, again, I like shows like this. I have no problem with them making these, and because they tape them previously, so the stuff we're seeing has already happened. Now, if they were showing this show live while we're building up to, well, Royal Rumble is coming up now. So if they did this show live, and we saw everything had while we was leading into the current events, yeah, I wouldn't like, because you're spoiling everything for us, and I don't like that. But because the stuff that they're mentioning now, we've already seen happen, I have no problem with the show. But the episode was pretty short. It was just this is the first episode. They did show previously what's coming up, so I know they're going. I think episode 2 focuses on what happened with R-Truth and him getting released and then hired back, and what did or didn't happen, or was it part of a storyline or was it not? They're going to deal with Seth alleged injury, and how he came back from his injury to cash in on CM Punk. They're gonna talk about all that in the next few episodes. So, as I mentioned at the top of the show, there's 5 episodes to this. This is episode 1 of my reaction. When I watch episode 2, I will put out a reaction for 2. But for now, we're gonna focus on 1. I think the show is great. Episode 1 was okay. I didn't learn anything that I didn't already know. But yeah, it was, again, a decent show. I didn't see the actual run time, but I feel like it's kind of short. So look for me to post more videos of this. Look for me to post episode 2 probably sometime tomorrow, if not Wednesday. So it's 5 episodes. So looking at possible 5 videos coming soon. So thank y'all for watching. Again, subscribe to this channel if you haven't already. Leave a comment or a like. That helps us out a lot. And subscribe to all the social media. But I'll try to put some links to all of our social media stuff down at the bottom. And yeah, just continue to appreciate those that are subscribed and the support that you guys have given to us. Even when you haven't seen us, I appreciate y'all still, commenting and liking our posts that we put on our social media plays and stuff like that. So appreciate it. And I will see y'all for Unreal Season 2, Episode 2 on tomorrow. Peace.